Former federal prosecutor Barbara McQuade has previously laid out a potential prosecution of Trump on two charges: conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruction of an official proceeding. Now she's raised the possibility of yet another charge, one you might not have thought about: manslaughter. She writes on Twitter, quote, "I think a strong case can be made that Trump committed 5 counts of manslaughter on January the 6th by recklessly causing the unintended deaths of others." And she adds, quote, "DOJ, you up yet?" Very good question. Joining us now is Barbara McQuade, former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan and now a professor at the University of Michigan Law School. Barb, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Like many legal experts, you've argued that Trump could and should face charges of conspiracy, fraud, obstruction of an official proceeding, all of the election-related offenses. But now you've added 5 possible charges of manslaughter to that list. That's a pretty big deal. Guide us through your thought process. How would you prosecute Trump for manslaughter?
Well, you know what I'll be looking for when we have the next January 6th hearing next week? The committee has said they're going to focus on this idea about what was occurring at the White House during those 3 hours, the 187 minutes of inaction. And it may be that the Justice Department is ultimately able to connect Trump to the intentional attack on the Capitol. But I think a manslaughter charge could be brought even if it was unintentional, even if he was not connected to the mob. There's really 3 elements to proving a manslaughter case. One is an act or omission. The second is causation. And the third is the requisite intent. And under the Washington, D.C. District of Columbia statute, it's really just undue care. So it's really a gross negligence standard. And so during the time that Donald Trump sat there for 3 hours and people urged him to do something to stop this, he didn't send in the National Guard. He didn't go on television in the briefing room to make a statement. He didn't even tweet that they should stand down. In fact, he tweeted just the opposite about how Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what he needed to do.
Yes.
I think all of those things could put together the elements of a manslaughter case. And it has the tidiness of being a simple charge that's easy to understand. It doesn't have all this complexity of intent. People died, and he could have stopped it, and he failed to do that. That's a manslaughter case.
I'm just going to pause for a moment there. It's a Thursday night, and we're sitting on live TV discussing whether the former president could be prosecuted for manslaughter. What have we come to as a country here? It's astonishing. Let me ask you this, though. The Department of Justice, you've made clear, I've made clear in other shows, it's moving far too slowly. What do you think the DOJ should be doing? If you were the AG, what would you be doing right now?
Well, I don't want to suggest that I know what's going on inside there. And it may be that they're doing a lot more work than is apparent to the eyes. But I think a few things that may be happening is flipping cooperators who are members of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers to try to connect up Roger Stone, Donald Trump, and others to the physical attack on the Capitol. I think that's useful. I would also be, after prosecuting and convicting Steve Bannon, I'd put him in the grand jury. There, if he tries his shenanigans of pretending he doesn't know that he can show up or asserting executive privilege, he can be jailed for refusing to comply. He can also be given use immunity so that he's not exempt from prosecution, but he is exempt from having his statements used against him. But he can be compelled to testify and answer the questions about why he said, tomorrow, all hell is going to break loose. Those are just some of the things that I think they should be looking at right now. And I am not going to suggest they're not. I think they're smart. I think they're diligent. And I think they're brave. And so I am hopeful that what we can't see doesn't mean it's not occurring.
A good mix of praise and advice there for DOJ prosecutors. I do hope they're watching tonight and they're listening to you. Former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan, Barb McQuade, always a pleasure. Thank you for taking time out.
Thank you, Mehdi.